This is actually a Cyber Frequencies extra. It's all the good stuff that didn't make it into the radio version.
The bailout.
The song sucks, but I want my chance to sing along. Bailouts, yeah. I want to bail out, yeah.
Today we have with us David Lazarus, business and consumer columnist for the LA Times.
David Lazarus, welcome to Cyber Frequencies.
Thank you.
So Ann Minch of the Debtors Revolt says banks are getting super low interest rates and then lending them out at 25 and 30%, and that's just plain usury. What do you think?
What a lot of people don't realize is you can negotiate them. Ann Minch tried to negotiate with B of A on her own, got nowhere, and then she used her own pressure tactics, and then she was able to negotiate. And that's great, but most people are not going to be able to bring out heavy artillery.
Well, see, I think she actually makes an interesting point. Why aren't we letting the little banks restructure what's happening? Okay, we had to bail these banks out. The economy was going to collapse. Fine. Why are we continuing to let the big banks that brought this about restructure the banking system? Why don't we let these community banks help restructure the system?
It sounds very nice in theory, but there's a certain level of naivety to this. And the reason we, the taxpayer, turned to the big banks was even though they're the guys who got us into all the trouble in the first place. In theory, once things become unjammed, well, all that money starts moving again.
But what about all the bailout money? That was supposed to get everything flowing again.
Absolutely. And it turned out that the banks were hoarding it, and they were using it to what? Acquire other banks.
So what is your recourse then?
Well,
I mean, if you're a consumer, what is your recourse?
Your recourse as a consumer, first of all, make your voice heard at the ballot box.
But we couldn't vote on the bailout.
No, we could not. But look,
people were calling, just a flood of calls to their congresspeople, and it didn't do anything with the bailouts the first time around.
I guess there's times when you expect your lawmakers and your so-called wise people to know what's in the best interest of the people.
But isn't that basic paternalistic government? Like the majority of the people don't want it, and they do it anyway.
A majority of people did not like the bailout of the banks. I happen to think that a majority of the people were incorrect on that score, but simply because it was such a complex and difficult issue, they just didn't understand it well enough.
I don't know. I guess, I sort of feel like, if I had made that phone call, what's the point of voting?
But the challenge here is if you don't make your voice heard as best you can, big companies will make their voice heard through their lobbying and political donations. So if that's the case, and that's what you're up against.
And it feels like there's no way I'm going to win against Bank of America.
But
there's no way I'm going to win against.
But if you throw in the towel, what are you left with? You're left with just
I'm left
taking
with
it.
YouTube.
I'm supporting this revolution because of the creditors being out of control.
They got massive bailouts. They've ripped us off. Get your money out of Bank of America. Everyone do it.
Walk down to your branch, close your accounts, and tell them goodbye.
I need a bailout. I need a